What's going on, guys? It's Luke22SV here, and today we're here for the 15th round of the career mode here in Russia, off the back of some good results in the last few races in Spa, Italy and Singapore. Our first few races for Alfa Romeo have gone very well. A tale of two halves hopefully in this season. We've just had a very inconsistent time at Toro Rosso. Now we've come into Alfa Romeo scoring points in our first three races, becoming best of the rest in not just performance but in terms of almost getting in there in the constructors as well now. So we had a massive climb. We were 8th when we first joined, overtook Toro Rosso, our team that we left, and it's just been going so well so far this season. Well, in the last few races particularly, on a good point scoring run. In fact, well, scoring points the last 4 races if we include Hungary as well. We're heading to qualifying though for today's race, and it's going to be a wet one. So, well, let's see how this one goes. The AI tend to excel in the wet, so we could be up against it today. Whether we can qualify high, that's another question. But the rain is expected to ease up, so let's head into our first lap then, and we just want to get a banker lap to at least get us onto the pecking order, at least see where we are in terms of, well, the pace today compared to the other drivers, and then see if we can move up and so on. But here we are on our first lap. It's quite tricky conditions as we go around this left-hander that seems to last forever, and now we go towards all these 90-degree turns, which are very tedious to watch on the actual races, but it's actually not a bad track to drive around, I don't think. But here we are. We just it's very tricky for us. We get out of shape, run wide, and almost into the wall there. So this lap not going to look too good for our point of view. I would imagine that we're probably a little bit further down the order than we would like to be after this lap, because it's just been a scruffy lap to start off with. I've hardly been able to keep the car on the track, and hardly been able to keep it pointing in the right direction, as we almost ended up in the wall again. Yeah, definitely a banker lap just to get a lap time on the board, and hopefully, well, when the conditions improve, as our engineer just said a minute ago, we should be able to get onto the intermediates and maybe towards the softs towards the end of the session. But coming towards the end of the back straight, we've got out of shape, we've hit the wall, lost a bit of front wing, and we're into the wall and out of qualifying. So yeah, maybe none of that's going to happen now, because we're going to be starting from the back of the grid. It's unfortunate there. Here's a slow motion replay. You just see the car steps out on us, hits the wall. It's like a bit like Carlos Sainz's accident a few years ago, although his was in the dry. And there we go. We just sort of, yeah, we're a passenger at that point. Off goes the wheel, and that's disappointing for us. We're doing so well, and now it looks like it's a start. It could unravel if we have a little bit more of these sort of form. But an instant qualifying, which will see us start from the back of the grid. But Russia's a track where you can make a lot of overtakes, particularly on this game. So hopefully, well, we can make some overtakes. We're going to take some engine penalties as well. So, yeah, that should help us in the races to come. We could end up starting further ahead in likes of Mexico, USA and Brazil. But there's the provisional order. We're down in last, and Daniel Ricciardo as well. He's down in 19th. He's had a torrid time in the last couple of races. He started life at Racing Point quite well, but in the last couple of races it's been a bit underwhelming for him. Again, starting from the back with no lap time set. And look at the 2 Williams up there as well in 8th and 10th. That's showing their upgrade to doing well. So let's head on to the race then for the Russian Grand Prix, starting from last. Hopefully we'll have dry weather today. But there you can see we do have dry weather, so it should be a decent race then. Well, it looks a bit doom and gloom, to be honest, with the clouds, but it could be wet to dry or dry to wet. Well, we'll have to wait and see. Overcast conditions, so hopefully it's a soft to medium sort of strategy that we're going to pull off today. Let's see what the grid order is looking like though for the race today, and it was Hamilton who was on pole. Of course, the Mercedes dominating at the moment. Bottas alongside him. They're having a tough fight for the championship. Vettel third, Verstappen fourth. The 2 leaders of the respective teams, Weber and Magnussen, and then Russell up in 7th in the end, and Butler 8th, Kubica 9th, Hulkenberg, Danny Kvyat, Lando Norris, Sergio Perez, Alexander Albon, and Leclerc and Gasly down there. Disappointing qualifying for them. Sainz, Ricciardo, Grosjean with some penalties, and we're at the back behind them. So let's head on to the start then, the Russian Grand Prix. Hopefully we can have a good start to this race. And now, yeah, there you can see 50 place grid penalty. But now it's lights out. in just a moment's time. It seems to be going on forever. And away we go in Russia. We've had a poor start, but we can't lose any position. So carry on. Let's go into turn 1 and turn 2, which is coming up now. We're coming up to turn 2, the main first braking zone in this race. Can we make a dive bomb? Of course we can. We dive bomb several cars, but as you can see, Leclerc turning in a bit early there, not really giving us too much room. Now we've gained 2 places, 2 places into turn 2 then in the end, because Gasly and Ricciardo got past us. We're ahead of Carlos Sainz. Again, we dive bomb past Sainz and Gasly, and Gasly and Ricciardo, I should say. But Ricciardo managed to get a better exit there in the racing point. He's managed to gain a couple of positions already. Gasly's had a poor start, and now we can just try and focus on this race and settle down and knuckle in, and hopefully we can get in the points in the end, because we're capable of fighting in the points. The Alfa Romeo's got some good pace with the 4th best car on paper, so if we can dispose of these cars as quickly as possible. Although I'd imagine that Leclerc and Gasly are going to be going through the field just like we want to, because we're pretty much the best of the rest now. Lucas Weber's been doing quite well in this qualifying as well. So now, can we get that toe off of Daniel Ricciardo in the racing point? We need to beat the racing points as well, because they're fighting for 4th in the constructors along with us and Renault, who have fallen down the order in terms of performance recently. So we got past Daniel Ricciardo then, gaining 4 positions on lap 1. Now we've got Alexander Albon next. And Alex Albon is our former teammate, of course, so we'll be looking to get past him quickly. He caused us a few problems in Italy, almost overtaking us at the end. So here's a replay of the start. You can see the 2 Mercedes leading away, 1 and 2, as they have done for many times this season. Thankfully, in real life, it's actually not so much like that anymore. But at the start of the 2019 season, it was definitely the Mercedes leading the way, and Vettel getting the fight into turn 1. And we just dived. We tried to get past Leclerc, but Leclerc turned in, which is fair enough, I think. We're a little bit behind him there. But now, coming towards the long left-hander, where Vettel was taken out by Fiat a few years ago, we dived down again at the inside. It's just easy to dive bomb on here. Elsewhere in the real-life race, Giovinazzi managed to get 2 birds with 1 stone there, with Ricciardo and Grosjean both spinning. But here we are, fighting with Daniel Ricciardo in the racing point. But he looks to manage to get the better of us for now. But of course, we get him on the back straight with the DRS straight. But now, with just a few corners left before that DRS straight, where we managed to make the overtake on Daniel Ricciardo. We'll probably make most of our overtakes in this race unless they're into turn 1. Another DRS straight, as you can see Leclerc making moves on Danny Kvyat there. So Leclerc making his way through the order as well as us, and Pierre Gasly should be on the way up the order as well. But he has struggled this season in terms of points. He's had a disappointing run. Of course, he retired in Singapore in the end after his little crash into the wall when he was fighting for position with me. But Gasly, I think if for season 2 his drive could be under scrutiny, and maybe he might not get that drive at Red Bull next season. But speaking of Toro Rosso, we dived down the inside of Alexander Albon. A good move there. Was not expecting to reach the corner when we dived down the inside of him, but we managed to get him. We're up into P15, and we have to make those sort of moves if we want to get through the order quickly, which is what we've done there. And now Charles Leclerc is our next target. So if we can get ahead of Charles Leclerc, that would be perfect, because that would be another car, a faster car than us, who's having to get through the traffic as well. But if we can get a faster car and keep him behind us, that would give us a better chance of finishing in perhaps P5, because basically at the moment the best of the rest will be P5 unless Leclerc and Gasly can get through quicker than us. But yeah, P5 is the target in this race, although Lucas Weber should be targeting P5 because he's in the Alfa Romeo, our teammate. And now we're fighting for Lando Norris. Can we get past him on the back straight? We're getting close, but we don't have the DRS unfortunately this lap. Maybe we'll have to wait until next lap, which is probably what we're going to have to do. We're getting closer to him, ever closer, lap by lap. And now we're getting really close to Lando Norris. We're looking close, and well, now we just have to wait for the next lap where DRS will be activated. We may be able to get him into turn 2, but look at the exit we got there. Lando Norris struggling by the looks of it. He's having to defend, and we're going to go to the outside. But Lando Norris really struggling. And are we going to make an opportunistic move into the last corner? He looks like he almost was about to turn in on us and chop us a little bit there, and luckily he didn't. We've had a few incidents at the start of the season with Lando Norris, but now we get that DRS and we well, we're already past Lando Norris before second corner, and Alex Albon following us through there. So McLaren really are struggling as well in terms of development. They started the season off fairly poorly and continue to be quite poor. To be fair, they've really struggled. They're down in 9th in the constructors as well. McLaren and Williams down there. So yeah, that's not really what you want to see. You want to see McLaren and Williams starting to do well. Although Williams are actually on the up, by the looks of it at the moment. Both Kubica and Russell in the top 10 in qualifying. Something we haven't seen for a long time. So now we're closing in on Leclerc, who's closing in on the cars ahead of him. It looks like it's a racing point of Sergio Perez and the Renault of Hulkenberg. So Hulkenberg is in the Renault, which is just become the worst car all of a sudden. And now look how close we got to Leclerc there, who's trying to get close to Perez, but a poor exit from Leclerc. We get a good exit out of that corner. Now surely are we going to be able to make a move on Charles Leclerc into the corner? Yes, we are. Diving past him all, well, wheel to wheel there, just showing him the door. And now we're past Leclerc, but as the engineer just said there, Devon Butler's got a problem. He's ahead of us, and look there, you can see he's already causing issues for Hulkenberg and Perez, holding those guys up. So we'll be looking to get past these guys almost immediately now. So can we get past Sergio Perez, Hulkenberg and Butler as soon as possible as we come through the last corner to start lap 4? And here we go then. We're going to have DRS. Are we going to be able to make a move on any of these guys? You can see they're going through, and now we've got DRS activated. We're going to make a move. We're going to go past Sergio Perez here. Now we're going to go past Nico Hulkenberg as well, and Devon Butler. We're going to make a triple overtake into the second corner. Well, I should call that the first corner because it pretty much is. But Sergio Perez has got past as well. So Perez getting past Hulkenberg and Butler. So a great move from us, and Perez making progress there as well. So we're up into the points already. On lap 4, we're up into the points. Sergio Perez now to 11th. He's got past Hulkenberg and Butler. Now Leclerc as well. We'll be hoping to get through those guys soon as well. So we've got some cars between themselves and Leclerc. Gasly's a little bit further back. So it shouldn't be too long until we now can get towards Danny Kvyat ahead of us. So a good start to this race then. We've made some overtakes. We've been aggressive. We've been bold. And we've managed to get the overtakes done. And we're into the points. So hopefully we can please the Alfa Romeo guys. And a little bit more of a relaxed atmosphere at Alfa Romeo, and we're able to show our skills here, which we haven't been able to do at Toro Rosso too much, although Toro Rosso have started to improve without me as well, which is a bit strange. Danny Kvyat is in the points, of course. He's our next target. They've been scoring points in Italy and Singapore in the last 2 races. Albon qualified very high up in Italy, and Kvyat was fighting very high up in Singapore with me. So for some reason, that's probably my developments that I've done to the Toro Rosso car that has helped them move up the order so much. But now that I've moved away, I've become better as well. So it's a little bit like the McLaren moving to Renault situation and Honda moving away. They've both become better without each other. So yeah, that's pretty much how it's gone. We move on to lap 7 now, though. We're going to be pitting at the end of this lap to try and get an undercut. Our pit stop was meant to be on lap 8. We decided to deactivate the undercut. And we're going to come into the pits and see if we can activate the undercut. Our teammate's actually a little bit further ahead of us. There's a few Williams involved there as well. So if we can make the undercut stick, we should come out behind our teammate. So our teammate's a few cars ahead of us. I wouldn't be expecting to undercut him unless we can get a really strong undercut. I don't think the undercut is too strong around here. But we've got these medium tyres going on now, and we'll be going to the end of the race. That's the thing with these 25% races. On F1 2019, you actually tend to use the softer tyres more than you use the medium tyres in a 25% race, which is a bit weird. But if it's quicker, you might as well. But that's part of the reason why I do want to do 50% races. But at the moment, it's just not going to be easy enough to record. But on to lap 9, you can see Kubica's just come out of the pits. We've managed to get the undercut on Kubica, so we're up into P13. So we're ahead of Robert Kubica. We go. He was just ahead of the cars that we were following, including Danny Kvyat. So that proves that the undercuts work here, and hopefully now, when everyone pits, we could be in a good position, maybe 6th or 7th, as we run wide using all the track available and a little bit more. So yeah, there you can see personal best being set in sector 1, and now we're going to go through the next couple of sectors, and hopefully these can be a real good personal best, because our teammate's yet to pit. He'll be in this at the end of this lap. I don't know if he'll be too happy about us getting past him if we get the undercut working on him. but this has been a pretty good undercut so far, and one that we can actually well, use quite positively. It's been a good race so far. We can quite easily make up 15 positions. This would be definitely a good result if we can get past these guys. But teammates now in the pits now, so will we get past our teammate? Well, when we come across the start-finish straight, it's been a good lap so far. Definitely a personal best. Unfortunately, not quick enough to go session best. We'll need a few more upgrades to actually be able to fight for fastest laps and stuff like that. But it's really positive signs going into next year. I'm hoping to stay with Alfa Romeo unless anything comes up. Unless we get a bad contract renewal, we'll have to worry about that in the future. But at the moment, I really want to stay with Alfa Romeo because we're on the up. And we come through the pits now, and we can see Lucas Weber's ahead of us, but now he's behind us. And George Russell, he's ahead of everyone. So George Russell's having a hell of a race. He's in P6, P5 and P6 now. We go around the outside of him though. We've got the slipstream, we're up into P5. So now we have done the mission that we have wanted to do. We've got undercutted everyone. We're into P5, best of the rest pretty much. So that's the position we are targeting, and that's the position we are in. So all we have to do now is go to the end of the race with 3.5 laps left to go. Unfortunately for Lucas Weber, he's not going to be too pleased to see us ahead of him, considering we were behind him before the pit stop phase. But now we've got past him. We're just going to keep going to the end of the race. Of course, there's no team orders or anything on this game. So, yeah, that's probably not a thing that's going to worry us too much. Definitely something that should be considered for the next game. Imagine that. We've managed to, well, basically get the undercut on all those guys to move us, give us some track position. But if Weber was perhaps to get past Russell, you could perhaps see a swap be activated there from the Alfa Romeo guys. But at the moment, we just got to focus on our job. With just 3 laps to go now after this one's completed. Russell's in P6, Weber's in P7. So can Weber get past Russell? That would make us definitely best of the rest. But George Russell doing so well for Williams. That's been completely nowhere all season. And then all of a sudden they've got just slowly managed to get upgrade by upgrade towards the midfield. And now they are part of the midfield. And now all of a sudden they're part of the upper midfield. And Russell getting so many points as well now available to him. But moving on to the last lap, nothing's really happened for us. But Weber has managed to get past George Russell into P6. So, well, Russell managed to get back past him there. They're both fighting for P6. So that's given us a little bit of breathing room. We literally haven't really had to worry too much about those guys. So onto the last lap we go then. It should be a comfortable drive to P5. So 10 more points. We've been so consistent so far in our time at Alfa Romeo. And again, Pierre Gasly out of the session. That's 2 races in a row he's retired. He must be really frustrated at the moment. It's just really not working out for him. Verstappen doing so much better than what Gasly's doing at Red Bull. A bit of a story of real life season, to be honest. But yeah, Gasly, his drive might be under pressure next season. We'll have to see what the transfers look like. I'm really excited to do a little pre-season video on the transfers next season, like I did on the Mick Schumacher career mode before. Involving transfers, that'll be just awesome to announce next season. But we come towards the end of this lap now, the end of this race. It's a good race then for us. It will be the Mercedes winning again. Mercedes is going to have the constructors wrapped up sooner or later. I think they might even be able to have it wrapped up by the next race even. Valtteri Bottas closing in on Lewis Hamilton. Valtteri Bottas is in the hot form at the moment, and Hamilton having to, well, just settle for second at the moment. But we cross the line and settle for 5th, a very good 5th position from 20th. And, well, we can be very happy with that, making up for our qualifying crash. But a good result then. We can be very happy with that. And, again, Toto Wolff happy with that. Again, Monaco being displayed on the telemetry there. They need to really sort that one out. That's really, really poor. But Toto Wolff happy with Valtteri Bottas winning there. Vettel doing best he can for Ferrari. It must have been a pretty dull race up front. But here we go then. We're into P5, Weber in P6. So 5th and 6th, how we had the race for Alfa Romeo. Getting pretty much the maximum points available to us because there's no way we're going to be able to catch those guys ahead of us. So driver of the day goes to us. So we can't have any complaints to that. We now become best of the rest. And not really too far behind Gasly. He's catchable if we keep going at this rate. Gasly not scoring. We are best of the rest of the constructors as well. So great, really great news for us. Renault and Racing Point falling back a little bit. at the the worst time to fall back for them. But that's going to be the end of the episode there, guys. I hope you enjoyed it today. A lot of action at the start of the race, not so much at the end. But I'll see you very soon for the Japanese Grand Prix, and I like and subscribe, and I'll see you very soon.